but I will proceed to offer our condolences on behalf of the LSK Nairobi branch. I will also proceed now to read the tribute from the LSK National Office. It is with deep sorrow and a profound sense of loss that we learn of the demise of Wafula Chebukati, EGH, advocate, on Thursday, 20th February 2025, at the age of 63. The late Wafula Chebukati was a member of the Law Society of Kenya. He was admitted to the bar on the 17th of November 1986 after completing his pupillage and receiving instructions in the proper business practice and employment of an advocate from Gibson Kinuka Ndunda Advocate of GK Ndunda and Company Advocates. Prior to this, he graduated from the University of Nairobi with a Bachelor of Laws in 1985. In 1987, he established his own law firm, Wanyoni and Company Advocates, which he successfully ran for 2 decades, before co-founding Kuto and Associates Advocates in 2006. In January 2017, he was appointed chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, a position he held until the end of his constitutional term in 2023. His tenure was marked by a pivotal moment in Kenya's democracy journey. On behalf of the Law Society of Kenya, I extend our deepest condolences to his family, friends, colleagues, and the people of Kenya. May the Lord fortify you during this difficult time, steady your hearts, and grant you the grace to endure this loss. May Chebukati's soul rest in eternal peace, and may his legacy of advocating for electoral reforms and institutional development inspire efforts towards a just and equitable society. Dated 4th March 2025, signed by the LSK President, Madam Faith Odhiambo. Thank you very much.
Mama Mary, members of the family, I want, fellow mourners, of course, I want to thank you very much for permitting me to speak at this occasion in my personal capacity. And I want to thank you for looking after this distinguished Kenyan. I know how difficult it is to be a caregiver, and you did a fantastic job. May our God bless you. I have known Chebukati since university days. He was a year behind me, and we worked together for many years in the legal profession. I held him in the highest possible professional regard. But it is in the management of the electoral process that we became very intertwined as I worked in the state law office and he was working with IEBC. Many people here work for the Republic of Kenya and they know this, that the public doesn't know. The state does not run itself. It is run by human beings, and it is a very, very difficult job. And some are more difficult than others. None in Kenya is more difficult than running elections. And this man we come to pay tribute to today and to send him was courageous. And I use that word in its double meaning. He was a man of great personal courage. Men went to the election room and physically confronted him. That is courage. But he was a man of great moral and ethical courage. When I presented him with my young friend Eric Gumbo in the last election, first, I was very impressed by how much he respected professional advice. And there are many people that his heart felt he wanted to say, and which I told him, you will not say. He shake his head and then say, if you say I shouldn't say it, I won't say it. One last thing he told me, and This to me is one of the most important professional representation I ever did. He called us to a room and he said, I will not tell you how to do my case, but you must say this in my name, that in order for a man to be right, he does not need to be with the majority. He needs to be with his conscience. I am with my conscience. He taught me a great lesson. Fair Chebukati, till we meet at the bosom of Abraham in the fullness of time.
Now to the immediate and extended family of our departed brother, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, to the leadership of the judiciary, today represented by my Lord Justice Daniel Msinga, to our elected leaders present, to my colleagues, to our friends, and to the general gathering. Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Eric Gumbo. It is always very difficult to fit into a session when Professor Gidu Muigai has given a very eloquent representation of who our chairman is or was. But Ma'am, Mary, Rachel, Jonathan, and Emmanuel, this afternoon, on my own behalf, on behalf of our colleagues, and permit me to just ask a smaller segment of the advocates, they call themselves the Team IEBC, would you kindly just be upstanding so that you could wave to the gathering? My colleagues with whom we have represented the IEBC. Thank you. You may be seated. So, Ma'am, and to the immediate family, on behalf of this team, may you accept our most sincere condolences. We appreciate the embrace that you and our chairman gave to us as a team. We actually have become part of your family. We shall continue being with you. We shall be together in this journey, and even in the days to come after the journey. We are in particular encouraged by the tributes that we've seen, the eulogy that was read by our brother Emmanuel, that you are strong. That also gives us strength to be able to stand with you in making this as light as we possibly can. And to that we say thank you. To my fellow mourners, it is not every day that we get an opportunity to celebrate our heroes in the manner in which they ought to be celebrated. Reading through the tributes, listening to those who have gone ahead of me, every single word spoken about our chairman is as true as it possibly could ever be. It is on that account that, together with my colleagues, we, this afternoon, would also want to just share the little that we could recollect, the little that we learned under the feet of our chairman. In fact, let me not say little, because if we were to speak about chairman, we would need a symposium, the things that we learned from him. Permit me, however, to just speak about one quality: commitment. We learned commitment under the feet of Chairman Chebukati. Commitment in the face of adversity, commitment when a host majority would rather let the situation be. Chairman would always remain the last man committed to his word. There are many examples. In 2017, shortly after the presidential election had been annulled by the Supreme Court, we went into the fresh election. So Chairman called us, the group of colleagues that we were here. He says, the Supreme Court has given us guidance. The people of Kenya are looking upon us to be able to deliver a fresh presidential election. What does this mean for us? What does it look like for us? You don't believe it? With the judgment of the Supreme Court, word by word, where there's a comma, he put a comma. He said, we must comply with every single component of this decision. And indeed, when we did that, the elections subsequent to that were upheld by the same court. In 2022, it was an even more tumultuous moment. This, sometimes, we never get the opportunity to share. We were seated with a few of my colleagues in Bomas, and on that very fateful day, you'd hear people say, check him out, this is the time, don't allow him to announce the results. And then we called ourselves into a small meeting and saying, has it gotten to that? Has it gotten to a point where you're saying, check somebody out because he has done what is his constitutional duty? I must admit, we panicked a bit. And so we spoke to those we could speak to within that environment. When the message got to Chairman said, Google and your team, there comes a time when in the life of an individual, if he stands for the right thing, then even paying the ultimate price for it is not too much to ask for. I will do what is constitutionally right. I will do what I'm mandated by the law to do. And that is exactly what Chairman did. At that point in time, there were many voices giving all manner of shades of wisdom, some of it outright lack of wisdom. And so we borrow from those as examples and to tell ourselves that is commitment. We've heard from the family that he was a committed man. May we allow our chairman to rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, may I plead with us? There are quite a number of people that are still in the queue. If we can make it short, brief, we will appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Pastor. My name is Eric Nyongesa Wafula. Firstly, I don't represent this constituency, but they say they just want to acknowledge that they're in the House, members of Parliament. I heard my friend Freddy Kana complaining their representative did acknowledge them. So we acknowledge the members of Parliament in the House. Thank you. I want to speak on behalf of the Mombasa lawyers. I was asked, I'd hoped that somebody else would speak, but we've taken a long time. There's very many things that have been said about Wafula Chebukati. He started his practice in Mombasa. For me, I met him as a young lawyer in 1997, when I was doing people then. But like everybody has said here, there are a few remarkable lessons that we all learned from him. One, his conviction, his depth of knowledge, and confidence that he built with his colleagues. And because of that, we all recall that he also served in Council of LSK in 1996, representing the Coast region as his constituency. After the post-election violence, and he was very vocal on matters of justice and matters land unity in the coast. He was appointed to chair a committee on ethnic violence and land disputes in the coast region after the post-election violence of 1997-1998. And he did a very elaborate report that will have actually sorted out the issues of ethnic violence and land issues of the coast. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But there's one thing that you will have noted is that having been an avid golfer, and I was his partner in golf for almost 20 years, is that many of his decisions he made when he was on the golf course. For him to become the chairman of IEBC, just before the IEBC was there was a vacancy, he had applied to become a judge of the Court of Appeal. Then there was postponement for those appointments. And what he did while we were playing golf, we reminded him, actually told him, chairman. We kept calling him chairman because he had been a chairman at Mombasa Golf and Nyali Golf Club. why can't you apply for this position? In any event, the very papers you used to apply for the position of the judge of the Court of Appeal are the same papers you require for this position. And he took up the position. And as fate will have it, the date he was being informed that he has qualified to be appointed chairman of IEBC, and he is being called from Kitale to fly to Nairobi. We also the golf course when he received that news. So most of his decisions and life revolved around golf. And why? To him, golf instilled integrity and honesty. And because of his upholding those ethics of integrity, he's the only, arguably today I can say, the only golfer I know that has served in distinctive positions in 3 golf clubs. He's the only person who I know that has served as a captain and chairman of Mombasa Golf Club, chairman and captain of Nyali Golf Club, and an executive member of Royal Nairobi Golf Club, and also having been a director in Kenya Golf Union. Those are distinctions that he only had. But coming fast forward, I know Prof. Brock spoke about this in terms of his conviction. And I was privileged when he was conducting the elections, we spoke on after almost every hour. And one of the things he said, like Gumbo just said, my namesake, Nyongesa, these were his words. The last call we had with him, just before we went to announce the results, after Mary could not reach him, and he knew Mary and the family were looking for him, and they were calling me. So he told me, Nyongesa, let me say this, and if it happens, please tell my family that this is what I said. I know this may be my last moment after I've announced the results, but pray for my soul. One of the things I would not want to do is to die of my conscience. I will hate a situation where after announcing the results, I've announced wrong results, and I'll go home and I'll die of my conscience. I believe in this, and one of the things you should know is this, he told me. As a Bokusu, you know one thing. And you heard about his rite of passage in 1972. He said, I'm Chuma number 3. That shows when he was circumcised in 1972. And I was circumcised in broad daylight as a Bukusu man. I faced the knife in broad daylight. If I go down, I'll go down like a Bukusu man. And he comes from the clan he belongs to. They actually have a kingdom in Uganda. And he said, I'm a prince, you know it, and he kept telling us all the time, I'm a prince. So if I'm to die as a prince, I must die for the truth. And my ancestors will be happy for it. So fare thee well, Wafula Chebukati, as chief of the events. Thank you. I know the present time has passed, but because you're the president of LSK, I hope you'll allow her to say something. Yeah, just attribute and be read the letter, say something, please.
God is good, and all the time. So to the entire family, Mom, we just share our heartfelt condolences as the Law Society of Kenya. My apologies for coming in a bit late, but I said I could not miss to fare thee well to one of our distinguished members. And to keep it short, but allow me to read a poem to summarize. 2 roads diverged in a yellow boat, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to right bend in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was Grammy and wanted well. Though as for the passing there, had warned them really about the scene. And both that morning equally lay in the day. Yet knowing how far leads on to the way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged into a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made the difference. I think when we are called in different positions of leadership, The challenge is how do we stand the test of time, particularly the pressures of life. I dare say that the few instances that I've met my senior, the person that he is somebody who was calm and firm. And I remember during one NCAJ meeting when he was under so much pressure, everyone demanding different answers from him, he said he's going to ensure that the process is participatory, he will listen to everyone. You may disagree with him, but he will give you the opportunity to be heard. He will sit down with you, he will share a cup of tea or water with you, but at the end of the day, he will make his decision, irrespective of whether it's favorable to you or not. Those are character traits that are difficult to find. And irrespective of what different people have of their different views, the reality is when you hold positions of power and you're pushed to the corner, the question is, are you going to hold steadfast when you're tested? Be with the pressure, the challenges, the interferences, wherever they may be. And that's what we can celebrate our senior for, holding fast and holding firm to the position that he felt that was the truth. And so today we stand to celebrate one of our members, because be it the challenges that were there, we cannot deny the impact that he had in the electoral processes, in developing the law, and ensuring a more participatory view, and also bringing forth jurisprudence in that office. That office is an office that can determine the lives of people, can determine whether people go to war or maintain peace. And so it's no mean feat to be able to sit in that office. We do not know the challenges that he had in his head or what he went through as an individual. But we know that he stood firm to whatever decision he made, and the country, we have since moved on or continued to grow. And so the challenge is now to us, what kind of impact shall we continue to make in the profession? And so we say our heartfelt condolences. You can never feel the place of a father, a husband, a friend, a son, that many people feel they have lost in Senior Chebukati. But he has been able to leave his mark in this world, and that is the most important. God gave you talents, and what have you done with those talents? So God bless you, and we continue to hold you in prayer, and we continue to stand with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I am informed that Honorable Ochieng wants to leave, and this is one thing that I didn't want to have to announce, that people have to leave. That's why I'm asking us to please make it short so that we can all finish, and we can also be here for the family who are coming last. But we will allow him to go because of other responsibilities. Thank you. We are coming close to the end so that we can listen to the family. But now I will invite Andrew Chebukati, who will speak on behalf of the Babutu clan. I hope I have pronounced it properly. Then I will also ask Diana Simiu Chebukati, a sister, to also come, and Court Otoro, who will speak on behalf of the in-laws. Thank you. Please come and sit here. Diana, is she around? Okay, just go on.
Thank you. All protocol observed. The clergy, friends, and everybody who came to mourn with us, good afternoon. I take this opportunity to call Dina, Planet, Elizabeth, all the Chebukati. My sisters that were here just come because we're going to make very few remarks We shall take the little time possible. Zippy, the people have called, these are the clan, the Chebukati'S. Allow me to say this. Senior Nyongeza has spoken about where the clan began, and he has told you a few remarks. But I'll read this. Our brother, Wafula Chebukati, he is the old in the family man. By these rights and our other siblings, he loved his wife and children. This is evidenced by the extent of sacrifice he has made to see the family scale the heights and reach their goals. The late was known to give audience to all who sought his services. He listened keenly but picked out the main points of conversation, after which he offered his sound opinion, always based on the facts and logic. My brother was never known to be shaken, however agitated he was. He could be seen smiling, despite of all underlying factors. He kept his composure and was never rattled. That's how he was. That's how we remember him. He was a gentleman who kept his word. His no was just a no, and his yes could not be otherwise. Being an accomplished man, he used all means within his power to see to the well-being of those who loved and valued. Our achievement are product of his hands. He shared the lead that he came with it, and he was able to support. As a normal human being, just like anyone else, his life journey was not smooth and sailing. He did not get a soft landing. He earned everything that had to put more extra effort. We remember him being a person with a stand. The nation may have lost a great man, but his family stand beyond words. The cup that he has left behind, the void of the absence, can never be filled by any else in a million years. The pain of the losing a son, a brother, a husband, a father, a breadwinner, is so profound, cannot be described to the fullest. There is time for everything, and in the clan, the name Chebukati, it means the tree that cannot be bent. Thank you so much. I would like to bring our elder sister to give her remarks as we finish.
Shemeji, waombolezaji wote, kwangu ninawasalimia wote, amjambo. Amjambo tena. Nitaongea tu Kiswahili, hata sina lolote ambaye nitaweza kuongeza iwe mingi, bali ni kuwashukuru tu wote ambaye mmeingia kwa hii kanisa kwa ajili ya ndugu yangu. Na mimi ndio wa kwanza katika hii familia, yeye ananipata mara 3. Kwa hivyo sister yangu Mary, Rejo, Jonathan, pamoja na Jay, mjipe tu moyo na msimame kwa hukumu wenu, ili Mungu atawaongoza katika kila jambo. Mungu anapenda mayatima pamoja na wajane. Wacha Mungu awajalie katika kila jambo. Na tulitoka nyumbani jana jioni, tumefika karibu mwendo wa saa 8. Lakini nawahimiza shemeji yangu na watoto mawe ambayo yanatolewa hapa na pale na vicheko. Mungu anasema unapocheka mwenzako, wewe pia utachekelewa. Na kipimo ambayo unapimia mwenzako, wewe pia utapimiwa zaidi. Wacha Mungu ailaze roho yake mahali patakatifu. Sisi pia ni wapita njia, tutapita na tutampata huko. Asanteni.
As we finish, Dina is our firstborn, followed by Betty, who is not here, then Judy, who is not here also, then there is Eliud, and then Clanet, and then we have Sarah, who is also not here, then we have Daniel, and then we have the one who was like a daughter to Chebukati, who I wish just to give her a second, and then we exit. Please. Then the last one is Elizabeth, and then someone who has cooked for me for many years. Her name is Mildred, and God bless you. CPS with you. Also, there's my in-law here. Her name is Emily. God bless you.
Praise God. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. I haven't met my sister-in-law Mary. I don't live close by. I just came in somewhere late in the night, but you've been in my prayers all this time. The man you see here today, I want to say one thing that probably no one else has said. He was a Christian. I lived with him from the time I was 9 years of age, and he taught me how to pray. He taught me how to read the Word of God. He took me to school and taught me how to study and work hard. He taught me how to put God first in all that I do. And I know we are all human beings, but he loved the Lord in his own way. And in his last days, we shared a lot. One thing I know is that he kept the faith, and I believe we shall meet with him some other day when the day comes. May God bless you, and we really appreciate all of you for having come to mourn with us today. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Asanteni sana kwa kufupisha maneno yenu. Courts.
Bishop, and senior pastors and pastors of Citam, and the congregation of mourners, good afternoon. I think it is. Bishop, you will just seek to indulge us. I have a host of in-laws sitting here with me, and that requested that I'll just sing one chorus, this one. It's a group of in-laws, they call themselves Akimani. It will probably take a minute and a half, I promise. So Akimani, if you're here, please, Namwara Kishi. It's a song.
Speak
As they come. Okay, maybe as you arrange yourself, I'll just make my...
As they come, he will read his tribute. Please come and be ready so that we save on time.
Okay. Okay, fine. I think as Akimani arranged himself, I'd just like to, share a few memories and our relationships as in-laws. In-laws being coming from Mary's side. Mary is my sister. My name is Kusotolo. Mary is my sister. She follows me. And then we have other sisters that follow her. So when Chebukati joined our family, we decided to do some intelligence. In fact, my parents, my mother and my father, asked me, there's a young man who seems to be hovering around here, looking at your sister. Can you just go and do your own intelligence and come and brief us whether we should proceed. So we sought him out through Mary. He probably didn't know what we were doing with my late brother, and we met him at a restaurant in Hurlingham. Went through the motions. He was a very quiet, somewhat, I would say, mysterious person at that time. But having gone through the coffee and the motions and discussions with him, we fed back the information that I think we're good to go. And my parents, my late parents, embraced the Chebukati family. Both Mzee was at home, Mzee Chebukati, and Mama Chebukati at home, subsequent to that decision that led to a very colorful wedding of Mary and Chebukati. People call him chairman, others call him, well, we just call him Wanyoni. That's how we know it over the years. And every time we interact, it's been Wanyoni. Just want to share 3 things that stick out during our relationship with Wanyoni Chebukati over the last, I'd say, going into 30 years plus or so. One attribute that comes out very, very clearly as we interacted was the issue of courage. He was a very courageous man. Professor has alluded to some of that courage. But even for us, courage in terms of 2 things. Courage to make decisions even if they were tough, but critically the courage to lead. You can be a leader, but you need the courage to implement your skills as a leader. So he had those 2 attributes around courage. In fact, I remember the events leading to August 2022, he went incommunicado completely, and then we saw what was happening on TV at Fomer on that evening going into the night. So we were a bit depressed, and we couldn't reach him, obviously, because I don't think even Mary could reach him. So I called him the next morning. It was around about 6. I called his number. Fortunately, he picked up the phone almost at the first ring. And I asked, where are you? He said, I'm okay, but where are you? He said, no, I'm around. And then that was the end of the phone. Caught up later, but I think he was processing what had happened the night before, or the evening before, at Fomer. As has been said, his conscience at that point drove him to make the right decision. And he needed a lot of courage to do that. Number 2, in terms of some of the sticking points that have come out between our relationships with Wanyoni over the years, is the concept of, if you want to call it, the 3 pieces in one: honesty, integrity, and respect. Those are not 3 pieces, that's 1 piece, because he's managed to combine those 3, if you want to call them values: honesty, integrity, and respect in driving how he lived his life, both as a professional and both as a family man. I remember some of the pressures that we have as in-laws. People come to you and ask you, you're Chebukati's brother-in-law. Sasa si ututafutie kitu, and we try. But when we make those approaches, and we've had several attempts as in-laws over the years, it shuts you out very quickly. He said, we don't discuss those issues. Let the right procedures and processes prevail. And you will probably, if you do your research and work around, we have not, as a family of in-laws, benefited from the interaction of being an in-law of Chebukati, and that we respect that, and we acknowledge that it's part of the values that is lived over the years around honesty, integrity, and respect. And we're very comfortable with that, and we've been very proud of that. Number 3, sticking point, is the fact that he always does the right thing, did the right thing. One issue that he would share with me over the years is quality, doing the right thing in everything that I do. Now, those so many words, quality, right thing, is everything. It's everything that he did had to be one quality, and the way he led IEBC in terms of bringing out a team that could deliver a quality election, but it was also quality in terms of leadership skills that's spoken to the work that he did and the decisions that he made. So we're very sad that it was to see him go. We've been orphaned in very many ways, and Mary, I think Mary also been accommodated by the Bishop. Very sorry. We appreciate your interaction with our brother-in-law, and we wish you well. We have to support you. We're positioned to support you anytime you need support. So thank you, Bishop. But just 2 minutes. It was 1 minute.
Please go on and say. Thank you very much. We've been seated for long. Let me ask the worship team to please come and lead us in one hymn. Let us all stand. We are now coming to the family, and we want to be to have the blood having flowed to every part of our body so that we can hear the family. So please, men, move like the men of David. Haraka. Thank you. I'll ask them to lead us in one quick song, chorus, and then we will ask the family to please come and give their tributes. We will be finished soon, or we'll be done with it soon. Let's be patient. Thank you.
Moyo wangu sifu Bwana, sifu Bwana siku zote, siku zote. Haleluya, haleluya. Imba, 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 imba. Anaweza, anaweza. Tumshangilie, tumshangilie. Hallelujah, sema moyo wangu, sifu Bwana, sifu Bwana.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. We may be seated. Let me ask, I see Mary has just walked out, but let me ask Emmanuel, Jonathan, and Rachel to please come up. Thank you. We are here for this family. Let's give them the opportunity. I think we will start with Emmanuel, then Jonathan, Rachel, then Mom will come. Thank you.
A tribute to my father. No one can mess with me when I'm in my bullfighting hat. These were my father's words, spoken to me in his signature witty smile, the last full day we spent together. I just returned from Bilbao with a gift, an authentic Spanish hat that they wear during bullfighting competitions there. Initially, I hesitated to buy it because I already bought him another gift, but something told me to turn around and go and get it, and I did. When I placed the hat atop his head, in his favorite spot in the garden, he adjusted it, felt the brim, and then he immediately lit up, and he said, "I feel like a bullfighter already." Then, with that familiar twinkle in his eye, he said, "No one can mess with me when I'm in my bullfighting hat." That was the Chebukati the world knew. Strong, resilient, full of conviction. You couldn't mess with him. But through my eyes, you will see him as simply the best father a son could ever ask for. In my formative years, my father instilled in me a deep sense of responsibility. While growing up in our home in Nyali, he entrusted me with the responsibility of managing staff salary and other procurement matters. Each month, I would prepare a budget, present it to him for approval, collect the funds, disburse the funds, and ensure that every employee and casual appended their signature upon receipt. To him, it wasn't just about the arithmetic. It was about the understanding of the value of labor and the dignity of fairness. These skills would later prove invaluable in my career. And this was my dad, the nurturer. Onto my high school years, and it was just the two of us in Mombasa during my examination year. The rest of the family had since moved to Nairobi, but my dad stayed behind to allow me to complete my studies. It was a special chapter, and we settled into a routine. Takeout became our staple. We had barbecue Mondays, terrific Tuesdays, Tika Wednesday at the golf club in Yali, and so on. But eventually we agreed that it was sustainable, and so we started to cook together. He would occasionally bring back mudfish following his hearings in South Coast, and I would experiment with every way possible to make it taste palatable. Those who know mudfish, it is one of the most horrible fish you can try and eat out there. Nevertheless, he would go and make the ugali, and in as much as the seafood wasn't always great, the conversations over those meals that we had were priceless. This was his way of guiding me. It was never forceful, but gentle, trusting, and with room for me to grow into my own choices. That was my dad, the companion. Driving was another bond that we shared. We started in Mombasa, where I often chauffeured him around, and over time I naturally became the designated driver of the family, much to my two older siblings. Together we traveled thousands of kilometers, Mombasa to Nairobi, Kitale, Joro, the Great Rift Valley and beyond. He was always in the passenger seat, guiding me with his steady voice. Of course, road trips weren't without their hiccups. Whenever I hit a pothole too hard or took a turn too fast, my mother and siblings here behind me would grumble from the back seat. But he would always defend me and he'd say, "Leave him alone. If I were driving, it would be much worse." That had the unwavering supporter. My dad was also a believer in my dreams. Following high school, I joined USAID Africa to pursue a degree in applied computer technology and immediately secured an internship and later a job. However, one evening on the 19th hole at Royal Golf Club, and the golfers know which hole the 19th hole is, I told him that I was going to resign. He was excited at first, assuming that I had gotten a better opportunity, but that wasn't the case. He asked me sternly, "How can you leave a job before you get another job?" But when I told him I wanted to pursue a master's degree at Carnegie Mellon, he was at peace. Instead, he wholeheartedly supported me by immediately buying me an air ticket, preparing for my school fees, and giving me his blessing, including driving me to the airport. And this was my dad, the champion of continuous learning. While at Carnegie Mellon, he kept close tabs on me, regularly popping in during his work trips. He was proud when I was elected to serve as vice president of the Student Guild and sworn into office on the same day that he assumed office at IEBC, and coincidentally the same day that President Donald Trump assumed office in the United States. One time when my mother and he visited, I had a few friends over for dinner. He asked that we have a group dinner, and unfortunately 15 people showed up. They were all excited and eagerly eager to meet Chairman, people from varying nationalities from across the world. They just wanted to come and say hello. Later on in life, when he completed his term of office, he was gifted, he had earlier been gifted a Rwandan traditional stick called an inkoni, given to great warriors. And when he completed his term of office, he came home, took off his tie, and he reached for that stick. To me, that was symbolic and a poignant reminder that the impact of leadership transcends borders. My dad also supported me in business. When I started my business in Rwanda, we needed some money to secure some premium office space. And so he loaned me Kenya shillings 620,000, interest-free for 12 months. When we repaid him as a company 1 month early, he was proud. But when he learned that the bank had flagged the transaction as suspicious because I was supposedly the son of a politician, he was absolutely furious. The same bank later on refused to open a business account for one of my businesses, citing the same reasons. His response? He closed his own accounts with the bank, Much to the frantic calls of all the managers, he ignored them, hung up on them, and proceeded to close his accounts with that bank and moved his salary account elsewhere. This was my father, principled, protective, and unwilling to let his family be mistreated. You couldn't mess with him. As my life in business grew, I would regularly consult him, and he would regularly challenge me, given that, after all, he had been in private practice for over 30 years, so he knew a thing or two about business. One evening, following another sitting at the 19th hole, he insisted on escorting me home. I obliged, excited to finally get to show my dad my apartment. He entered and I gave him a customary tour. Kamwambia, ona TV mzee, iko pale, ni sawa, iko sofa set hapa, wacha nikuonyeshe fridge, and so on. I was very excited to have him over. And then later on we sat on our balcony, and with my chest proudly out, I said, I've achieved all this because we've got a good client and they're bringing in such a month. He looked at me, smiled, and with his typical quirky smile, he said, only, hiyo ni kidogo, double it. This confused me. I was expecting a pat on the back. Well done, son. Congratulations on what you have achieved. But here he was challenging me to do more, to be more, and to achieve more. I'm proud I had the opportunity to report back to him that I successfully doubled it as he had initially wished. As time went on, my hard work was recognized and I was invited to CMU to receive an award. It's a prestigious award that only 100 alumni, 1,000, have received. My parents insisted on coming with me, and indeed he said, you're coming with us, or rather we are coming with you, and you're flying in business class with us. Following that trip, the initial symptoms began to show, and subsequently the rest, as the eulogy has been read, speaks to that. But after his first surgery, his dedication never wavered. I had the privilege of staying with him in Germany for a few months as he recovered. In those months, we took daily walks, brainstormed on talking points, and prepared for his upcoming engagements. One of them was the EIP presentation, which he delivered with much aplomb. And again, it was just the two of us in Germany, just as it was in Mombasa many years back. Only now we had upgraded from eating mudfish to salmon, because that is what was available to us out there. When we left Germany, we executed our strategy. I had the privilege of traveling with him to the 2023 Economic Symposium in Abidjan, to South Africa in Cape Town, and to help him prepare for his presentation in Lisbon, Portugal, where he received an award. Despite his condition, he prepared diligently and delivered all these engagements with poise and aplomb. He barely even needed talking points. He was speaking from his lived experience. In his final days, my father was surrounded by love and peace. We rallied resources for his care, we safeguarded his well-being, and we made sure that a family member was always by his side. Indeed, nobody could mess with him. Not in life, not in his final moments. Rest well, Dad. I will carry with you your lessons with me. I will carry your lessons with me forever, and keep your head safe. A symbol of the wisdom you wore so effortlessly, the strength you carried with quiet dignity, and the path that you charted for me to follow. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Before I go into reading, I'd like to first, we all call Daddy, Daddy. That's why I don't understand why Dad is here. It should be DY. Because he was a real, I think he was the best father I've ever seen in my life. Let me put it that way. I feel
Daddy was firm, he was honest, he was courageous, and he liked being straightforward in a positive way. And the best thing about him, he could remind you, especially when I was young, he'd be like, have you done your homework? Then after 1 hour, you just see him coming from the other corner, have you done your homework? So having a father like that is someone who you can rely on every time. You don't even need an alarm, you don't even need a phone. Nowadays, I don't know why people use phones for so many things, and a phone is just for calling and texting. But for him, he was old-fashioned, and he was straight to the point in a positive way, and that's what made him a special and a successful man. So my tribute, I can start reading it. On Thursday, 20th February 2025, will be a day I will always remember. The day you are promoted to heaven. It has been a long journey, Daddy. I never thought you would leave us in our early 30s. And it pains me to realize that you will not be there for us, your children, to you. These past days, I have been going down memory lane, and I am proud that I was given the opportunity to call you my father. Daddy, you loved us deeply, and you worked tirelessly to ensure we had all we needed and more. You are a man who was always willing to lend a helping hand, a man who was and is my #1 role model and mentor, a man of integrity and honesty, an unshakable man. I never thought there was anything you couldn't do. If you wanted to, Daddy, will accept avoid death. We built a lifetime of happy memories. One I will cherish forever, and which time can never erase. If I were to pen them all down, it would need more than a book. Your #1 sport of golf, I remember when I was 10 years old, I accompanied you to the golf course. I quickly took golf, and you said I was a natural. It became part of me. Your passion became mine. I had learned from the best. In 2007, when I got my handicap, which then allowed me to play professional golf around the world. You are so proud of me. You trained me, Dad, so that I could become the best in the sport. You and the man entitled me and sponsored me to join the Junior Golf Foundation, JGF, the foundation of golfers who are 18 years and below, to improve my golf by playing and winning in some tournaments across the golf courses in the country. I remember you sent me to South Africa in 2009 for a 3-month training to upgrade my golf skills. I gained confidence to bring my handicap down to 2 in a professional level. Thanks to you, we won the club match play for Sams in 2015, a tournament which was a trail golf club where our names are engraved till today. As per W. Chebukati and J. Chebukati. We were the first golf partners who are related to ever be champions in Royal Nairobi Golf Club. We both also had a hole-in-one at the same club. On the golf course, we connected as one. You were my partner, you are a fighter, and you were a team player. Family golf was the idea. Those moments when we competed as a team of two against each other forever warm my heart. We had so much fun and we enjoyed the rewards that came with winning most of the competitions. Golf will certainly never be the same without you. Whenever you played golf with me and could strategize on how to win every time, losing was not an option. If it happened, you told me, it's not the end of the world, my son. Your time will come. I still can't believe that you are gone. You are irrepressible daddy, one of a kind. Tears fill my eyes as I write this tribute. My heart is heavy with grief. Losing you feels like losing part of myself. But I find comfort in the Lord daily. Your life is hard to emulate, but will do my best to live a life of integrity like you did. I am confident that you are in heaven and are watching over us. I won't see you again on earth, but happily we will meet in heaven. I echo the words of J.M. Richards in quote, no one wants to go through life alone, fighting battles single-handedly their whole life, not even the hardest of heroes. I love you, Daddy. Rest in peace till we meet again. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have been wondering what I was going to say today, for the last few days, which is kind of, I would say, ironic to an extent, because the number of scares that we've had for my dad in terms of death scares have just been so many, to the point that at some point I would have dreams of this moment, standing before people and talking at his funeral on a daily basis, starting in 2017 after the election period, 2022 during his sickness. So to actually be here, it's kind of, I don't know if surreal is the right word, but it's just, I don't know, it's very weird. But what I want to say is, I will not read what I have in the tribute, because like I say in my tribute, strong suit, I did not write it from beginning to end. I don't know how my brothers were able to do that. Have themes. I've just been reading their tributes and they're pretty good. Just but mine, I came up with just things he used to tell me, and this actually wrote at I think 2 a.m. The night before the program was due, and I couldn't sleep because at that point I still didn't have a tribute. But what I will do is I'll just talk off the cuff, and so that I don't have for too long, I've just jotted a few things down that I will talk about, just some things about my dad. So one thing I will say is a lot of people, I think almost everybody I meet, who when they learn, oh, you're Chebukati's daughter, the first question they ask me is, how is it like being Chebukati's daughter? And I never really have an answer to that because the Chebukati, most of you know, you knew from 2017. That was just about 8 years ago. I mean, before, how was it like being raised by him? I mean, I was a whole adult before that. Like, he was a whole other human being, a whole other life, you know, before he became chair of IEBC. So what I will do is I never usually answer that question, but today I'll answer that question. I think it's the best, a befitting moment to do that. So one thing I can say about my dad is a very involved father, very, very involved. He wanted to like every single day, it was always, how was your day? What did you do in school? What did you learn? Are you actually improving on what you're working on? What is your goal? What is your plan? Every Christmas we spent together. Every New Year's we had to plan about what we want to do the next few years. And he always pushed us and pushed us and pushed us. It was not just, oh, get the grades. It was, how can I help you? He used to ask us when we had to have our New Year's meetings, how can we help you, you know, achieve your goals? So that's, I think, one thing I would want to say. Two, he expected excellence. He expected excellence. He used to say he expected excellence because he gave us the best of everything. He wanted, so he grew up in Bungoma, then met my mom, who was a Nairobi city girl. Then they moved to Mombasa. My mom, I let her have her tribute, speak to her tribute, but I think my dad always wanted better. He never wanted us to go lower. For him, it was just give us the best, give us the best, give us the best at all times. So that's something I want to remember. And I remember at some point I told him, last year I got to spend a lot of time with him when he was mostly home due to the illness. And I remember I told him that if only I can just be like half of you, I'd be great in this world. You know? And he was like, what are you talking about, Rachel? You're not going to be half of me, you're not going to be a full of me, you're going to exceed my expectations. I can already see it, I know it. And that's what he expected on a daily basis. He expected us to do better, be better. It was always about reaching for the sky. He used to say, reach for the sky. If you do fall, then you're not too, at least you're not falling below to mediocrity. You're falling at a level of, you know, above average. One other thing, reaching to the sky, I recall when I was well, before I got to university, I wanted to study. I was a golfer. I played a lot of golf. My parents introduced me to the game. There were not, I think I was the only girl who played golf, who had a handicap in the whole of Mombasa at that time. The entire time I played from like maybe 9 to 18. So I didn't really have friends to play with. The boys were very noisy on the course, so I would avoid that. So the people I played with are actually my family. I played with my dad and my mom and my brother. Every Sunday we had family golf Sundays. In the morning we'd go to church and then we played golf in the afternoons. And then we would also play, you know, in competitions as a team together. So initially golf was just for fun, and then it reached a point where somebody in Nairobi noticed there's actually a guy in Mombasa who's actually good. So then my parents started taking it more seriously, investing more in my training. I recall my dad. I was asked to represent. I was selected to represent Kenya at the British Junior Open, and at that point, my parents felt like at that point South Africa was the place where people would go for training. But the question was, who would go with Rachel? She can't go to South Africa alone, a young teenage girl for 3 months. By the way, my brother was allowed to go alone, but I wasn't at the same age, but anyway. So at that point, I think my mom had some big conference she was handling, so she couldn't go with me. My dad was managing partner at Kutu, his law firm at that point, and he had just become the managing partner. But he told them, this is important, and he said, I'm going to be away. So he left, and for 3 months we spent the whole time in Johannesburg. We just were in a hotel room. Every morning he woke up, took me to the course, to the range. We practiced 6 a.m. to the robust program, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. He was my caddy when we went out onto the course. Basically just hang out with me the whole time. So I think that's one of the things. He really wanted me to be great. I recall when I told him that I want to be a lawyer, him actually saying to me that, why would you want to be a lawyer when you can be the next, Michelle Wee was the person, was the golfer, or the next Tiger Woods for everybody else. But I really liked Michelle Wee at that point because she took on the boys, the men, in the professional tournaments. So he really just, he was like, no, don't go to my level, become an advocate. Go beyond, think about going to, the US, becoming a golfer, whatnot. But I love golf, and I think I really just love golf because I just enjoyed it, like the family time. But I knew that for me, the professional life was not where I wanted to go. I wanted to be a lawyer. And part of the main part of the reason I wanted to be a lawyer was my father. He always involved me in everything. Like the number of times he'd take me to court with him when we were in the holidays. I'd just sit behind and I thought it was really cool, to be an advocate in litigation, until I became an advocate and started practicing and doing litigation and realized that I think I prefer commercial law more. But he inspired me, I think, in literally every aspect of my life. So another thing I've written down here is with regard to being Bukusumani, there's this concept that, as a woman you should sit back, not speak, all that. Unfortunately, fortunately, I'm half Bukusu, half Bunyore, so on the Bunyore side, the women did not know how to sit back. But on top of that, my dad was not a Bukusu man in the sense of that he did not only let my mom speak up, he pushed her to speak up, pushed her to the limits, pushed me to the limits. I recall when, a very particular time when we had my grandparents over at our house in Mombasa. We grew up in Mombasa. And my granddad and some of the elders were sitting outside in the garden, around on chairs and talking. And then I was about maybe like 7 or, I don't know, maybe like 10 or something. And I just went and pulled a chair and sat next to them. And everyone's really laughing. And I think my grandfather, or is it one of the other elders, said something about, no, you should go back. And I was like, no, let her sit. And not only did he say, no, let her sit. When we went back into the house later on that evening, I was telling my mom the story of how I came, sat there and crossed my legs, and crossed my hands like and that memory, which is of the team of the elections, his advocates team of elections, Mr. Grimbo spoke on their behalf. The entire team, I think the smaller team Mr. Grimbo mentioned, he asked to stand, I don't that you guys had my brothers and I, but we clap for you because you guys were great friends to my dad. Thank you. But the story here is that at that time when they were preparing the election petition, 2022, I was very much involved because I was around, and I recall sitting in some of those meetings, and the very first time I sat and just giving my opinion and contributing, and my dad went back to my mom to say, Rachel is there talking to very, very senior lawyers like their peers. But basically, he just pushed me to not feel like I cannot do anything. He always used to say, people are just people. You can walk into a room, it's just a matter of confidence. And he pushed me to just have that confidence, which he has. He has this over, I don't know, call it overconfidence, which I think we partly also learned from the golf course. You just set your mind to something, say you want to do this and do it, and that's how we play golf together as partners. We would literally just take the risk. It was always about taking the risk. We never took the second shot, even if it made more sense to take the second shot. We always took the risk because we would always say we take the risk, it goes bad, we'll recover, and we'll still recover. So, and that also ties into what I have said in, I think I mentioned my tribute. He always used to tell me, giving up is not in our vocabulary. Whenever I'd have an issue, whether it was at work or whatnot, my dad always used to say, Rachel, giving up is not in our family vocabulary. Like, you have to keep going. Like, giving up is not an option. And not only did he say it, he lived it. And he lived it not only during the election period. And when I say election period, it's not just 2017 and 2022. 2007, when my dad stood for election, it was also a very difficult time for our family, because I recall, and like it was for a lot of other Kenyans, but I recall being at home as cousins and the parents, my parents, my uncles, aunties were all up country that don't support my dad. Was running for MP at Sabata, as it was called then. And it took them almost, I don't know, in my head I think it's like 2 to 3 weeks to come back home because there were no flights. It's a very difficult time. People were being stopped. So anything could have happened. So the interesting thing is, I don't know. whether it's a coincidence, but the fact that my dad went through that experience and also lost his election in 2007, which he felt was unfair. He didn't feel like he lost, but anyway. I hope I can see that being a news headline. So because of that, he and I had a conversation about, because when I received job was advertised, the very first time I recall, very few people applied, so it was not, no one was shortlisted. So when the second advert came, because my dad and I had always had conversations about like elections, politics, international affairs, we'd watch CNN together, we'd watch Al Jazeera late into the night. He was like me, could barely, sleep, so I find him watching like in 3 in the morning. I wake up, I find him watching international CNN. I love Al Jazeera, so we'd always have that. So when it came to that, when he started considering that job, applying to IEBC, I recall telling him, in my opinion, you're the best person to take this up because you went through it, you have been a victim, of stolen elections. I'll just put it out there. And not only that, whenever we spoke about it, he would always say, I will do this differently. I will do this differently. I will do this differently. So it's like,